So the Xbox Series S has been revealed, leaked at first, and Microsoft had no other possibility than to just release everything about the Xbox Series S, the little sister of the Xbox Series X. And that just makes the mess complete for Xbox. Let's get it. Now, before we start, guys, huge thank you to everybody who subbed this week. It's a delight to have you on the channel. If you're new here, drop a like, subscribe, and hit those notification buttons. Now, as said, the Xbox Series S has been revealed. It's the smaller sister of the Xbox Series X, and as said, that makes the total mess of the Xbox reveal and the build up to the new generation more or less complete. I already predicted it a while ago in a few of my videos that with the Xbox One they made a lot of mistakes. They never recovered from that. They're gonna make new mistakes and dig the hole even deeper. Just bear in mind, I am not a fanboy of either of the consoles. If you know me, I just love gaming in general. If the system is good, I will buy it and I will game on it. But from the looks of it, there is not much of a reason to invest in an Xbox Series S or X. Now, as you can see here, it's the design of the Xbox Series S, and this is a website, Tom's Guide, and I'm just using it for a bit of reference. Now, the most interesting bit is the Xbox Series S will be able to run games at 1440p at 120 frames per second. There are some debates. I also saw 60 frames per second. That's quite impressive. The console will cost $299 and expected to be less powerful than the Xbox One X. Oh my god. And they call this a next gen console. Well, of course, it will deliver variable rate shading, variable rate refresh rates, handle for people with TVs that support refresh rates beyond 60 Hertz, and it should even deliver ray tracing. So that's the whole next gen environment. Now, to bring this home to the big mess Microsoft has already started creating back in the Xbox One, let's just imagine that you walk into someone's home and he has an Xbox One S, right? $299, great. So your first initial thought is that, hey, is that an Xbox One S standing up straight? No, that's an Xbox Series S. Oh, wow. What does it do? What does it run? Yeah, 1440p resolution at 120 frames per second. Okay, I've got an Xbox One X. It runs 4K at 60 frames per second. So my resolution is higher. Your frames per second are maybe a bit lower. But so that means that it's less powerful than the Xbox One S. Yeah. Okay, so where does the next gen come into play then? Yeah, variable refresh rates. It's handy for people that supports beyond 60 Hertz TVs, and it should deliver ray tracing. Okay. So what software, what unique software, gaming, or offering can I find on the Xbox Series S that I can't find on my Xbox One X or Xbox One S for that matter? There is no additional software or unique software attached to this box. Also not to the Xbox One X. That should be way more powerful than an Xbox One X. Xbox Series X should be way more powerful than an Xbox One X. Now, a wise man said to me once that software is, and this was 5 years ago, is and is even going to eat the world in a more bigger way than it already does. So software is eating the world. What he meant by that is that hardware doesn't matter in the end. We as gamers, we as tech nerds, we like that. We like the number of teraflops, and we like the numbers of RAM and the CPUs and the GPUs and the ray tracing and how it looks. At the end of the day, 99% of the consumers want to understand what they can buy on a certain platform that is unique and setting itself aside from another platform. There is nothing new here. The biggest bullet, the biggest bombshell they had, Halo Infinite, is delayed until somewhere in 2021. And even that game can be played on an Xbox One X. There is nothing special about this platform. The Xbox Series S is less powerful than the Xbox One X, so there is no reason to go for that one if you own an Xbox One X. And if you want to go from an Xbox One X to a Series X, what is the system seller? What is the golden gun? What is the environment I'm going to get that I can't get? I've got an Xbox One S over there, and I've got a big ass PC with a 2080 Ti and an AMD Ryzen 7 over there. You can't see it, but it's there. I'm looking at it right now. There is no reason. There is no immense piece of software that's setting it aside, even from each other, but also not from the competition. If this is going to continue and you are buying a Series X or an S, you need to get your head examined. Because why spend $499 or $299 on a console or on a piece of plastic that either is less powerful than a One X or more powerful than a One X, but is not delivering any new experience other than taking the same games as the One S or the One X and shortening the load times? If that is your golden gun, if that is your unique selling point, then stop making consoles. Microsoft is a software company. They, above all, should understand the power of software. It was the sole freaking reason that the PC market exploded. Because of Internet Explorer, because of Windows, the ease of use of the software, which made the hardware sell. Now, if you think that this is the only horseshit that is going on the marketing department of Xbox, no. Because eventually their own ecosystem they created is undermining their own business. I've said it before and I will say it again. There is nothing wrong with building an ecosystem. I think one of the biggest examples on how to build a successful ecosystem, you might not like it, but it's Apple. It's not about what you think of that ecosystem. From an objective point of view, it's a very successful, very clear and well-defined ecosystem. I can watch movies on my laptop with iTunes. I can continue that on an iPad, and I can continue my work from iPhones to iPads to laptops. That's for Apple. In the gaming industry, if you upgrade to a new platform with more, better hardware, you want to experience something that can't run on a previous system or on the competitor system. Now, they've created an ecosystem with Game Pass, Game Pass, I believe. So that means that you can play anything, anywhere, which works fine with an Xbox One S or an Xbox One X and my PC and Gears of War. It works fine. But don't come to me saying that this is going to improve and help your newest generation. It is not. Because there is no reason, when you're sitting at home and you've got an Xbox One X and you're enjoying Game Pass, which, objectively speaking, is a fantastic offering. But there is no reason to upgrade then to an Xbox Series X or even downgrading to an Xbox Series S. Because you will have the similar same experience as you have on the console you already own. Now, if we look at our dear friends from Sony, they believe in generations. That's something that they always breathe and that they always tell. They don't make a mistake. They don't make a secret out of it. They want you to move as quickly as possible from a PlayStation 4 to a PlayStation 5 because they're going to offer you from the get-go experiences that cannot run on a PlayStation 4. And that's when things get interesting, because if Horizon Zero Dawn was able to run on a PlayStation 4 and 5, I mean Horizon Zero Dawn 2, then there will be no reason to have a PlayStation 5 at launch. The new Ratchet & Clank cannot be played on a PlayStation 4. It can only be played on a PlayStation 5 due to the increased resolution, ray tracing, the immersiveness of the game. It's just not capable. But the biggest flagship, Halo Infinite, which was already a mess when it was shown to the world, that should be the system seller. Don't be afraid. Make that one unique to run on an Xbox Series X. And one more, and that's also what PlayStation does very well. They've got one console, and you can either take the digital version or the one with the optical drive. But the specifications are exactly the same. So now what Xbox needs to do is they need to balance every game for both a Series S and a Series X. Now with the current generation, that is not a huge problem. Because an Xbox One S, Jesus Christ, those names, the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, although the Xbox One X has slightly bigger or better hardware, it is more or less the same. But now there is a huge gap between a Series S and a Series X. We're going from 4K 60 frames per second to 1440p at 120 frames per second. We have 10 gigabytes of RAM versus 18. We have 4 teraflops versus the 12 or 13 is going to hit on the Series X. So they are making a complete and utter mess of offering a wide range of systems that in the end do not pay off on its own. And there is, you could say that the ecosystem is perfectly crafted from Microsoft. It is. It works with my Windows-based PC and my Xbox here. It works. But offering more platforms in that same ecosystem just doesn't optimize a game for that specific platform, because it needs to run everywhere. So what you will buy, and I think that this piece of equipment or equipments is going to release the beginning of November. With what? So I can tell you with what. With absolutely nothing. With absolutely nothing. And there still seem to be a lot of people out there that overly care about the specs that are in this plastic box. That's nice from the start. When the PlayStation 5 was revealed, I was anxious to hear what the exact details of the technology are, right? I was really curious. And I was also really curious of what they solved from what the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5, what they're going to add, how quick it's going to be, and what kind of an underlying infrastructure you have. And you could set that aside in an Excel with PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and now the Xbox Series S. And that's nice. But as soon as we've got that clear and we know what we're going to get, we're going to have ray tracing, that's fine. You can more or less delete that Excel file, because the main question is going to be, what is so unique about this platform? It's not the hardware. It's not the hardware. The hardware is just an enabler of what it's going to make unique. If you've got a big ass engine with 1,000 horsepower, but you don't have wheels, then it will not go anywhere. So if we're looking at PlayStation 5, and it will most likely release with new software. And we saw new software more than we saw from the Xbox Series. So from my perspective, this Xbox Series S is just more missed in what the Xbox is as a platform, as an interconnected platform, but also has more missed on why, in God's forsaken name, you should upgrade. I think you should stick with your Xbox One S. Even if you also have a PC, you can stick with that and then add a PlayStation 5. Then you have an addition to your gaming environment. You have something new, you have something fresh, you've got kick-ass new IPs, you've got kick-ass exclusives that are only can be played on that platform. And if you're looking at Call of Duty and Battlefield and FIFA or all those third-party developers, it will look exactly the same as it will do on a Series X as it does on the PlayStation 5. Exactly the same. And that's what 99% of the consumers care about. My advice, there's no reason to buy an Xbox Series X or S. PlayStation 5 has a head start right now. Guys, it wasn't for me. It's a bit of a rant. The reason is that I care about this. I've been an enthusiast of the Xbox ever since the first one came out in the 360. Reasonably enjoyed the Xbox One up until the point that it lost the war in terms of exclusives. So the question is, what are you going to do, guys? Is there for you a reason I maybe missed to invest in an Xbox Series X or S? Or are you going for the PlayStation 5? I'm really concerned. I think that Xbox, Microsoft dug a hole to focus on hardware and not on the things that make life enjoyable in gaming. And that's software. This was Movement 6.